Hey everyone! So welcome to another pole tutorial. So for today we are going to be using the pole and we're going to be doing 3 different movements. These movements could eventually come into a combination, but they're going to be basically beginner and then more intermediate and then more intermediate advanced. So you have the option of working through them over time. Alright, so to get started we're going to do a little bit of a cardio warm-up just to get the blood pumping, but you can always do a little bit more of a warm-up prior to the tutorial. All right, let's go. Coming behind the pole, jacks in and out. Good, step it over to the right side, hands hold, pull, and hop to the other side. So, you're using your arms and, of course, your legs and core to go from one side to the other. Think of bringing your legs, squeezing them tight together. Good for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, face the pole. Walk it into a plank. Mountain climbers, knee tucks. Good for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step the feet wide, walk it down, and walk it up. Walk it down, and walk it up. Very nice. Bend the knees, stretch it back, look under one shoulder, and then the other. Bend the knees round your back, roll it up to the top. All right, okay, a few times here, we're gonna come to the pole with your back, walk the feet forward, and then step it wide. From there, making sure you're in a squat position, knees are bent, lift the heels, lift and drop. Maybe get a little bit lower. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Step it to the other side. And then come all the way up. All right, shake it out. I think we're ready to go. So, for this first one, we're going to be using our spinning. So it is going to be a spin. This is the Juliet spin, but we're going to be using basically our body position to do a little transition from the Juliet spin. So if the Juliet spin is new to you, I'll go over it in detail and then we'll add on the transition. So I'm going to face the back. To start, we have right arm up, left hand across. For this one, we are going to be eventually reaching behind us to grab the pole. So from here, we're going to step a little bit back. Start now by stepping your outside foot, so your left foot forward. From there, you're going to start to bring your chest past your second arm. So now that arm is going to let go. So we have step, come forward, almost like you're pushing your body through. Then from there, that right leg is going to come forward, out towards the side, and by doing that, it's going to pull your hips, your torso towards that right side of the pole. And then from here, we're going to end up in more of like a, kind of like a side lying position, ready for this knee to touch the pole and to squeeze. So from the back, it looks like this. Right arm up, left hand across, step, push through, reach, back knee hooks, and then we come back around. So notice how I grabbed the pole behind. You can do this a little bit sooner. Right arm up, left hand, step, push forward. From here, right away, this foot reaches towards the side, this hand reaches back, reach for the pole, grab, squeeze that knee, and then you're done. So the action for this one is you want to make sure that you're not pulling away from the pole. you're gonna keep your back pretty close to it. So only at the beginning do you step further away. But then from there, as soon as the leg starts to rotate around, bring your back to the pole. It should be in between your shoulder blades along your back. So the Juliet spin is a really pretty one. It can be done on spin pole and on regular static pole as well. I'll go through the left side, left arm is up, right hand across the body. From here, we're gonna step forward, right foot, bring your chest through, start to reach back and the left leg out to the side, squeeze that knee, and then come back around. Let's practice a few times on each side. For this one, the more that you can keep your outside leg kind of reaching away and creating more of the momentum, the circle, you can change your leg positioning a little bit. So overall, your outside leg steps, the inside leg goes around, 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 around. Okay, I'll do a few more. Okay, and over time you can play around with the shape of it, but also the fluidity of where the body is like holding, where you're reaching, and all of that. Make sure to use that shoulder, engage your shoulder back and down. All right, so this one's super cool. So now what we're gonna do to add on to the spin is do basically like a barrel roll to come out of it. And then this is just gonna be a cool transition or a unique way to add in a little bit of texture to a combination. So now, come into your spin. From here, step that foot down. Start to bring your opposite hand back up. Think of stepping the feet together. Roll up and over. From here, you can always pop it down and roll it up to the top. So, to go through that a little bit more, you're gonna step your outside foot, bring it around, bring that foot to the floor, roll up and around, pop, and you can always face the pole to roll it up, or you just kind of like drop the hips, come down into more of like a squat position, and then roll it all the way up. Okay, so for this one, it should feel like it kind of moves with the spin. So as soon as you're doing the spin, the leg that's reaching away, you're just gonna put it on the floor, bring the feet together, other arm comes back up, and then you do that barrel roll. Step, up and around, drop it, roll it up. All right, I'll do it one more time. Roll, pop, and all the way up. All right, so this is a cool way to use spins, but also add in some transition, some different variation in movement. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our second one. Once we come up, we are on your right hand side. We're gonna take the left hand down, a little bend to your elbow, and you can use your pointer finger for support. Other hand comes across about head height, and we're gonna go into what's called Jamila, or like a cradle straddle. I'll turn slightly to the side so you can see what's going on here. Your inside leg can lift first. You're gonna pull and tuck over to the side. Like you're in a tucked position. You wanna have a little forward, like drawing inwards from the center of the body. Okay, so we come up. Then from there, you're gonna look back and reach the legs into a straddle. For this one, it can be pretty challenging on the bottom leg and bottom arm. So your goal is to really keep that tucked position, really strong in that bottom hip, so that when you start to open the top leg and top arm, that you feel more stable and that you can do some movement there. Okay, so again, we have bottom, top, tuck, lean over to the side, squeeze your knees in, then top leg can lift up, option to extend that bottom leg as well. Your goal for this one is to eventually hook your heel onto the pole above you. So you're making sure that your top hand isn't too high. You want it to be a little lower so you have space for your foot to go. Okay, so we'll do it the opposite side. Bottom. So I almost think of like your elbow comes towards the hip slightly, and then your hand comes down. From there, your top hand comes over, not too high. Push down, squeeze, open, and then come back. So this is a good exercise as like conditioning. So you can do this one as a repetitive movement. Tuck, open, tuck, open. All right, a couple times on each side. So if you feel anything in your wrists, elbow, anything there, the more that you can use your muscle recruitment, so you want to make sure you have a little bend, you're still pushing down pretty strong here, keeping everything in line, and then with the other hand, you want to try and use your forearm, your bicep, to kind of help pull you over and keep you over on the side. That's always the hardest part, is to still maintain that tuck position, but also still moving within it as well. And make sure to breathe. Whew. All right, good work. So that one is our Jamila. This one does eventually grow into a few different lovely transitions, including the leg feed through, or there's like almost like a thread through, feed it through, that ends up in like your apprentice and shooting star. You can also do this one into butterfly pose, where you hook your leg and you come out and up. So I'll show you the first one I mentioned. So this is a good transition that you can work through. So your top leg is going to come over the pole, then you switch your grip, so you end up bending your knee. From there, you can bring the bottom leg up and slide down to your shooting star. To come out of it, just put your feet on the floor, and you come all the way up. Okay, so that one is a little bit more intermediate, especially in terms of the transition with it as well. Okay, so our very last one that we're going to do today is working on the brass monkey position. So if you have a mat, I always suggest to use a mat for this one. Okay, so for brass monkey, you can do it from the floor, forearm, hand, and then also up onto the pole as well. So I'm going to start facing you, because then you'll be able to see my body shape facing away. So you're going to use your forearm to start, elbow in line with the wrist, and use or hold the bottom of the pole with your hand. From there, you want to take the top or front part of your shoulder, to the back of the pole, and reach up from there. Making sure that you're still engaging as much as you can, so your shoulder doesn't come out towards your ear, right? You're engaging, keeping a tall chest. From here, start to come under, lift your hips up, and then you can do, just like dolphin pose, you're lifting your hips, and a couple times you're kicking up to hook the leg and back down. Then we eventually bring the feet towards each other, keep that knee nice and tight, and the feet towards the center. So this one is done pretty close to the floor, so there's not a lot of opportunity to move around with it, but it's just getting the positioning, the familiarity of the grip and all of that. Okay, so now I'll show it from a different angle. So we're gonna come now, I'll face this side. So we have bottom hand is down, elbows across, top arm reaches up, shoulders behind the pole. From here, pop your hips up. You can lift one leg, but don't think of coming straight back. think of coming out towards the side so that you can hook in that knee. Your head should be elevated slightly off your forearm. So really using the strength of the forearm and the shoulder. So a good way to prep this one is to literally just do dolphin pose. So dolphin pose is where you're in a forearm plank, right? You're really strong through your forearms into your shoulders, and you walk your hips up a little bit higher, and then you walk back down, walk up, walk back down, okay? This one is more lopsided because one arm is doing something than the other, but overall that is the posture in and of itself, even when you're up on the pole, okay? So now from here, the next one, or the next variation, you can bring a hand to the floor, right underneath your shoulder. The other arm is the exact same. Shoulder comes behind the pole, reach up to the sky. Your grip is with your palm facing up towards the sky, your fingertips facing away from you, and then gripping from here. Okay, so then from there, same idea, you can lift one leg and work on pushing to hook and bring the legs closer together. You can also actually hook the feet. I usually like to go the leg that's on the pole on top. So brass monkey does start to feel like a handstand, especially when you're in this variation of it. And it's a really good practice to focus on strengthening your stability in the shoulder and then also working on that grip with the knee. Okay, so from the side, notice how my back isn't going to arch too much. You want to keep it still upright and core engaged. You bring that leg out to the side, squeeze it, other leg comes behind. It is a lot harder to do it a little bit slower like that, but just to break it down, it does, it's easier to see. But yeah, you want to, for the most part, you want your legs to come up pretty close in distance. So 1, 2, bend the knees, squeeze into the pole, and then come back down. Okay, so now from here, this was just focusing on the legs of brass monkey. So now what we're going to do is add the arms. So to add the arms, you're going to keep that bottom arm on the floor at the beginning, but now your other hand or other arm is coming into your flag grip. So elbow is now in line with the shoulder, squeezing inwards, like you're squeezing your elbow towards your side. Then you bring your hand down again. Now from here, same exact movement with the legs, come up, bend and squeeze, but then from here you now have the option of extending this one out or lifting this one off the floor. So flag grip uses your lats, tricep a lot, so there's a lot of inward squeezing to hold this, but it is a really good one to build familiarity with because we'll use it over time for other movements. Okay, so continue with that one. But what I'm going to do now is show brass monkey in its fullness, but where you come from standing up onto the pole. Okay, so now we have left hand comes onto the pole, right arm wraps around, elbow in towards your side. From here, we're thinking of doing that same kick up where you're going to be pushing down with the bottom arm, squeezing in with the inside arm. The other leg comes up, but you want your body to really feel like that handstand position where the top of your head is coming down and your hips are coming up. So very much like that teeter-tot, like you want to really hinge and hit and lift up. So lift your toes up towards the sky, push, hook the leg, hook both legs together, knees out, but you're finding that squeeze in the knees, and you can reach the arms. So you can try that one a few times, and even if your legs are still not getting up there all the way, that's okay. Just keep one hand on the floor and just keep going like that. And it would be good to do this one on both sides, especially from the perspective of working on the grip from both arms, so that you have some understanding of what needs to happen in order to use both sides of the body. So even if you do it from the floor, just continue trying working on it from both sides. whether the hand is on the pole or on the floor. Squeeze the other arm. Top of the head comes down, kick up. Trying to find the back of that knee and hold. This one is definitely not easy, so just take your time with it and just make sure that if you need to have more support, you can have a cushion, something below you, but also really working on your entry and exit. So just prepping it, right? Doing a little kick up, come down, kick up, come down, and focusing on your grip is the most important. So the way to prep it is kick up and then come back down. You want to push and squeeze. Kick up. All right, so that's brass monkey and a few different ways of working on it or prepping for it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Over time, you can work on putting these moves together. So I'll show that at the end here. And yeah, I hope to see you again.